Surprise, surprise.
Good afternoon. Good morning.
Thursday, everybody. It's something like that.
I don't know.
We're flirting with the noon hour on this Thursday. I'm Jason Mikell, of course, and this is Terry Eliasen, our executive producer, and we have some really interesting things to talk about.
Yeah, we do. We've got some astronomical happenings going on tonight, along with some warm weather coming up. St. Patrick's Day. It's starting to get all those spring things are starting to happen.
Some spring things, spring storms.
Spring storms. Yes. Busy across the country. But let's start with the fun stuff. Let's start with the full warm moon, which is going to be full early tomorrow morning, but that's just the start of the moon story.
It is. It is.
Here's the question for you, and as we talk about what's about to happen with the moon tonight. So it will be a full lunar eclipse, but it's going to be pretty early in the morning.
It's going to be really early.
Now, you get up early.
I get up pretty early. First alarm's at 2:45 in the morning.
Okay.
I'm out of bed, hopefully upright, by 3 to take the dog out. So I'm going to be looking for this tomorrow morning. I think we'll have a bit of a contest between some clearing skies and some cloud cover. So it could be a little bit dicey depending on where you are. But looking for the maximum eclipse, it'll be just a couple minutes before the 3 a.m. hour tomorrow morning. And with the total solar eclipse, lunar eclipse rather, ending around 3:30.
So you get about an hour from 2:26 a.m. to 3:31 a.m. where the moon will be completely eclipsed, and we see it shaded in red there. And that's kind of what happens when we get these total lunar eclipses. They call them the blood moons because of the color, but it's really just like it's like a reddish hue that the moon, the dark moon, takes on during that time frame. So if you are up and you do have some clear skies, just look for that, between 2:30 and 3:30 in the morning, and then it'll slowly start to come back, before dawn tomorrow. So I'm not sure I'm going to get myself up. You'll have to tell me how it goes.
I was going to say, here's the question. Do you stay up all night to see it, or do you wake up early?
Yeah. I will probably do neither. And that sounds horrible, but more so because I feel like there's going to be a good deal of clouds around. And lunar eclipses are fun, but they're not, I don't know, in my mind, they're not the magnitude of a solar eclipse. And we actually do have a solar eclipse, a partial one coming up later this month that we'll certainly talk about as time goes on. But
I would venture to say I would look more for a solar rather than a lunar.
Yeah. Right.
You can really, seeing the skies darken in the afternoon where it's supposed to be daylight, I think that's a bit more of like a, ooh, wow.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, if it was happening while I was awake at the lunar eclipse, I certainly would check it out. I'm not sure I'm going to pull an all-nighter for it. But that's not to say you couldn't. But here's the biggest concern, and you can see, especially south of the Pike, early tomorrow morning, there's a lot of clouds. So now this is just one model. It may not be cloudy everywhere that it's portraying, but I do think there's unless you're farther north and west of town, you may not see much of anything. Yeah. So that's kind of the second reason why I'm kind of like, I don't know. I feel like this is going to be a marginal event at best. But nonetheless, there's sort of my depiction. I just kind of drew this up of where you have your best chance of actually seeing the eclipse tonight. Certainly north and west of 495. If you're in central and northern New England, you have a better shot. But again, you got to get up pretty early.
You got to get up pretty early.
Yeah.
And just go ahead and stay up while you're there.
There you go. And quickly, the temperatures around eclipse tonight, not terrible, low to mid 30s. So it's not as if it's going to be freezing outside. So if maybe set the alarm for 2:30 a.m., take a quick look outside. If it's clear, you run out and you run back in and you go back to bed.
At least you'll see a bit of the glow, at least from the moon. You'll know it's still up there, but chances of being able to see this lunar eclipse, as Terry said, probably a bit more.
It's a man, yeah. So anyways, we've had this all winter long, really, just a string of storms coming into the West Coast, and although it looks sort of broken up right now, there has been a lot of flooding rain down there in Southern California, up in the Northwest Pacific, and that's all going to head across country. Stop off, if you've heard this before, another sort of cross-country storm over the next several days. So we're just tracking it along here, and you can see that it sort of, as typical, loses some steam over the Rockies, but then it really gets itself together in the middle of the country.
This is going to be sort of I mentioned earlier this morning on air, this is going to be a ripe and ready storm that could actually be the potential for a multi-day widespread severe weather outbreak, not just for the Midwest, but also deep south. And you can see where some of these isobar lines there are, when they're tightly compacted, that gives you sort of the indication that there are going to be some strong gusty winds. I don't think we're expecting 50, 60 plus mile per hour winds, but I think at least 20 to 30, maybe 30 to 40 plus
here,
to be expected by Sunday evening into Monday.
Yeah, and so most of the rain that arrives here will be on St. Patrick's Day. But just to highlight some of the severe weather, so sort of marginal today, but as we get into the next couple of days, that's a pretty significant area for potential severe weather potential right in the middle of the country on Friday, and then again on Saturday, moving slightly further east. But it's definitely, you're going to be hearing about it in the news over the next several days. Lots of potential for severe weather here in the middle part of the country.
And this is a great example showing that warmer weather is on the way. The great battle between winter and spring is about to heat up.
Here it comes, yeah. And so for us, we won't really get in on the severe weather, certainly not. And this weekend is really just going to be sort of mild, but it will be windy. So I was thinking about, maybe pulling out some of the lawn furniture this weekend. It's kind of getting back in the swing of things. But certainly, especially on Sunday, even though it certainly will be quite warm, definitely going to be gusty.
It seems like it's been since horse and buggies. We had 60s both Saturday and Sunday here in New England.
Let's do it. Now, the big event going on Sunday started at 11:30 in Southie, the annual St. Patrick's Day parade. The temperatures look great, but it will be, we're talking about gusts probably 20 to 40 miles an hour throughout the parade. So that'll definitely be a challenge. But at least it probably will be dry and maybe a sprinkle.
I think so, yeah.
Dry and warm, but quite windy. But for us, anyways, the rain doesn't really get here until Monday, mostly Monday morning, midday, and at this model showing 1/2 inch to 1 inch, could be a little bit more than that. But we really don't have anything noteworthy storm-wise to talk about other than just this, band of rain coming through on Monday for the next several.
And would you agree, Terry, it seems as though we've turned a corner, certainly in temperatures.
I think we have, and speak of the temperatures, I would say we're almost certain that March is going to go in the books as an above-average month for temperatures, and it's been since November that we had an above-average month. It's been a chilly stretch.
Yeah.
So we're already well above average. I think to date we're about 3 degrees above average, and the next 1 to 2 weeks are looking mild as well.
So you're saying there's 70s around the corner?
I may have a graphic about that as well. This is just a quick look over the next sort of 10 days. Lots of 50s and 60s. Keeping in mind the average right now is low to mid 40s. So this is all above average for the next several days, weeks. And I just threw this in here, like, if you're wondering, are we done for snow?
I'm wondering, are we done?
We're all wondering. So this is one of our better models, and so this is the percent chance at any point in the next 2 weeks of an inch of snow, and it's basically nil. That purple area that you see sort of in the Boston-Worcester area is like 10% or less. So up in the higher elevations, maybe it's 50-50, but I don't know, we might be done. I hesitate to say, no more snow coming, for the year, because you never know, but
I mean, April could be doing April things, and then, if we get into May and May start doing what April and March is doing, then that's a whole other story.
Yeah,
but, typically by the time we get into April, it really starts to fall off. The jet stream is retreating farther to the north. We got, probably by the end of April, at least 90 extra minutes of daylight from where we are right now. So you can imagine that, anything that, even if we did get, let's say, a snowstorm mid-April, it's not going to last that long.
Absolutely.
It's going to be melting within days.
Yeah, and it does, again, for the next several weeks, looks mild. So we average our last inch of snow in Boston on the 16th, which is
in a couple days.
So we're right there, and we see nothing, again, no snow in the forecast. So there is a chance that we've seen our last flakes for the year. And we also like to throw this in. We're less than a week away from actual vernal equinox, start of spring.
Oh,
so that's fun.
So happy.
3 weeks from today, the Red Sox are going to be playing at Fenway. So here we go.
And the crowd goes wild.
We're moving right along.
Yeah,
and again, a week from today, this is going on, the vernal equinox, which is basically when equal day and night, it's when the sun is shining directly over the equator and the Earth starts its tilt towards the northern hemisphere, and obviously that's when all the summer things start to happen. So I'd say we are largely delivering good news.
We are delivering great news. So everybody, please be happy. I've seen a lot of people out and are about in the neighborhoods riding bikes, exercising. A lot of the runners preparing for the marathon next month as well. So again, looking at the temperatures, at least over the next 7 days, it is nice to report that we only have one lone 40+ degree day, and that is today. We start to warm things up back again tomorrow. We'll have some more sun splashing on in, mild again on Saturday, around 60. Even though we'll be fairly mild on Sunday. Again, remembering the parade, it starts at 11:30. Some of the afternoon showers really begin to ramp up once we get towards that sunset hour on Sunday. We'll be gusty on Sunday, so remember that. And the potential for an alert because of some moderate to heavy rain on Monday. Soggy, unfortunately, St. Patrick's Day.
I will say that it kind of, it's a bummer it's coming on St. Patrick's Day, especially if you have it off. But, as we head into spring here now, it's good to have a soaker every once in a while because not to bring up the drought, we're not really, the drought status has been improving since last fall, but you really want to have at least 1 or 2 soakers each week as we head into spring just to keep things sort of flowing, get things to green up. And you're already probably seeing some signs of spring around the area, and so we really do need a day or two of rain here and there as we go forward.
I planted an orange and a lemon tree. I hope they sprout.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
I did. I know. Yeah.
Good for you.
I'm very excited.
Okay. Well, Jason's coming up in about 19 minutes here at noon, so we'll have the very latest on all the stuff we just chatted about. And if you are going to check out the lunar eclipse tonight, wishing you good luck with that. And send us a picture if you have one.
Let me know. I'll be here dark and early at 4 a.m., everybody.